Welcome to this special episode of the Learn Buteyko podcast. Today we are going to take you through the life cycle of the method itself, its inception, successes, repression, and enormous contributions it made within the Soviet Union, where it was first implemented, to the point where our protagonist could make himself useful during one of the greatest disasters of the modern era. We are going to do that by the hand of the best qualified Buteyko practitioner today, Vladimir Sukhonosov. We could say of Vladimir that he is the practitioner of practitioners when it comes to the Buteyko method. He has treated tens of thousands of patients and was appointed by Buteyko himself as an auditor for other practitioners. I was really excited to lead this conversation together with Martha Rohr, where we got an insight into the enormous breadth of knowledge and influence Buteyko had at the time, and the range of illnesses the Buteyko method was and of course still is capable of reversing. We will also have an opportunity to get an insight into the good-natured character of our protagonist today, Vladimir Sukhonosov. Good, Vladimir. Thank you so much for doing this. I think it should be very interesting. Martha is going to join us. How are you these days?
It's okay because warm climate, I like it, to 33, 35 degrees of Celsius.
Do you do this Russian tradition of getting into cold water?
I can't find. Buteyko, there's some video. Buteyko did roll his body on snow, right? I can't find myself now, but I saw on YouTube back in old days.
Really?
And
there's a video of that?
And I did the same, jumping, ice hole, okay? No, river maybe, whatever. Lake or river. It's good because skin so hot after sauna. That's why I say you just enjoy. No, your breathing stops, of course. But it's such an enjoyment, right? Here, okay, what I do after sauna, I just pour cold water in basket.
So you actually do that, yeah.
Yeah, not precisely. But.
So today, is it very generalized, this custom of moving the children, taking the children into cold water, and also the whole moving them around like they're doing acrobats with the babies?
Yes, because we came from world ocean, right? That's why people see when they inside water, right? They don't have usually asthma attack, etc. Water can change pressure inside lungs. Children like to be in water, right? I remember I demanded, okay, from my parents, I would like to swim every day. That's it, okay. Let's drive to the lake, okay, to some lake or whatever.
Yes.
Father, okay, see maybe 1 hour of driving back and forth, okay.
Just so you could swim, yeah?
Yeah, so I want to say, even I was a child, like 3-5 years old, I couldn't swim, just like in what it's called in dog style.
Right. Where were you actually born?
In Urals.
In the Urals, in the mountains?
Lots of lakes. Lots of lakes. I mean, mountains, okay, I mean hills, etc.
Is it far from Ekaterinburg?
Not far, it's about 200 plus kilometers.
Oh, that's near for Russian standards. That's like next door.
No, yes, of course. One German patient told me, okay, 100 grams of vodka is not a drink, 100 kilometers is not a distance.
So is it also near where I read a whole book about Rasputin, yeah? So I read that Rasputin used to just walk the whole distance from St. Petersburg to Siberia, which gives you an idea. It's like we're going to talk about control posts, like the control posts that those people must have.
It was very difficult to kill him because they poisoned him, right? He survived.
Yeah.
They put some cookies or whatever, I forget, or some cake maybe.
Yes.
They poisoned cake. What his favorite cake, right? He ate. Still alive. They shot him, okay, a few times, boom, boom, boom. He was still alive. And he could predict, okay, future. The queen, back in that days, okay, she adored him.
Yeah.
And he could keep her son relatively healthy because what is called disorder when blood goes out non-stop.
Hemophilia.
Hemophilia. And son of Nikolai II and his wife had this disorder.
What,
and only Rasputin could help.
I mean, it seems to be historically really true that he could help with that.
Yes,
he really helped him, and he didn't do any medical procedure, right? He was not a doctor. So what do you think it was that helped him with that?
Oh, again, it's some sort of hypnosis, right? First, and plus, people said he had lots of energy inside. He can use. He can persuade everyone.
Yeah.
Anyone, okay? Because he wasn't educated. He came from Siberia, okay, or Europe. He was ordinary man, peasant, okay? And all of a sudden, imagine, try now. Or Martha might try, go to the queen. And be friend of the queen, okay? Try to become the friend, all right? It's how it's possible. Of course, words are irrelevant, right? What he could say. But energy inside, yes. He could make everyone come. And I saw some documentaries, right? When someone was bleeding, right? And that's it. Nobody could stop his blood, all right? And Rasputin came, boom, boom, boom. Yes. 10 minutes, and then another 10 minutes, and that's it.
It's such an incredible story wherever you look at it from, whatever perspective you look at it from. I mean, the whole context of the historical context of the First World War and the revolution and the downfall of the Tsars. And I mean, this thing you commented about his death, he was so strong that he was shot. And then in the autopsy, I think it was, they found that he must have survived that too, but he finally just drowned, yeah?
Yeah, so he was drowned, yes.
He died from the drowning, not from the shooting.
Yes, no. They shot him. Oh, still alive. Another bullet. Still alive, please. They did drag him to some ice hole in river, Neva, and put him down, okay? And he died from drowning.
What was the perspective on Rasputin during the Soviet era? So what was, as a child, what did you hear about him? What did they let you know about him? Was it like a positive figure, a negative figure?
He predicted the First World War, and he was against.
Yes.
Okay, and he had a big influence to the royal family. That's why he was killed by the way, English and maybe MI6 agent, maybe MI5, yes.
Yes, yes.
Took very important part in this.
I prepared just a list of things that I'm curious about what you might. I really wanted to pick on your mind on the origins of the method and the person of Professor Buteyko, and how did you also get into that. But since we're talking about these things, there's one. Maybe we can start from the end. So Professor Buteyko actually, and you comment on this whatever you want. If there's something that you don't know or you don't want to talk about, that's fine too, because it could be a bit personal regarding him, yeah. But his death, he was attacked, yeah. It's kind of a tragic death. He was attacked by some violent youth, and
when Soviet Union collapsed, all right, people became so poor because capitalism came in terms of prices, but not in terms of salaries. That's why people live in poverty. Buteyko didn't, because Buteyko had some servants, right, from his method. And he was going to fly to Moscow from Novosibirsk. Early morning flight. It was winter time, it was dark. And people attacked him, robbed him, hit him on his head. And he was dizzy and problem with his brain, etc. No, his skin and scalp. But he didn't go to hospital. I don't know why. And later began to have some headaches many times, okay, a day, like without it. Some blood was there somewhere, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, because he didn't ask, okay, any doctor. I was in UK at that time, by the way. But I communicated with some Russian practitioners who lived in Novosibirsk and Moscow. They told me like that, okay, that's why it's not, from first hand, but
Yeah.
And after 2 years maybe, and he died.
So he managed to survive the attack for a while, yeah, for 2 years.
I think. No, they said, okay, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because after he was living in Moscow.
Yeah.
And
There's some people on the internet that they say that the attack was not random, that it was not done by just some violent youth who wanted to get his money or his purse or whatever.
it was very often, yes. Because people were poor, right?
Right.
And of course, criminals went on surface. First travelers in the West were criminals, right?
Right.
Who robbed people, who cheated people, etc.
I see. Okay.
Can I just ask you, there's a story that he rang up people that he knew to say goodbye because he knew he had only got a certain amount of time to live.
No, I don't know about this. I think he died all of a sudden. Because to my knowledge, okay, at the end, maybe 1 week before his death, he visited hospital, but he refused to do anything, correct? I don't know about what sort of result of his visit, what sort of diagnosis, but he refused to do anything. And he died all of a sudden. He was laid down on sofa, I was told, and that's it, okay, just, he said, I'm tired, I should lie down. He did, and that's it, that straight away.
So why did he not want to have any treatment from the hospital?
I don't know, sorry.
Okay.
I saw him maybe 1 year, or 2 years before his death in Novosibirsk. Usually we have some breaks, all right? I and Stalmatsky. We work together in UK and we had breaks. Christmas time, Happy New Year, right? Easter, etc. And we flew in Russia every okay, maybe 3-4 times a year, right? And every time we visited Buteyko. But last 2 years, because he was in Moscow, we didn't. We just talked on the phone.
So
but he said nothing about his problem.
So maybe we can go back to how you got involved with it, because you were a mathematician.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you were expert in mathematics, and at some point you came across the method. So how's that story? How does that story go?
I had a friend, Stalmatsky. We studied at university the same year. We graduated the same year.
So Stalmatsky was also a mathematician?
Yes.
Right.
He graduated the mathematical faculty. And we lived, okay, in academic city. It's small city, so a bit far from Novosibirsk. And Buteyko lived there also. It's like from our place where we used to live, it was like maybe 20 or 15 minutes of walking, all right, to get to his house, all right. And of course, he was public figure. He made lots of public lectures. We were shocked. They made shock for me, for example, right? Because for me, like, what? I used to believe medical doctors, right? And then all of a sudden, everything was upside down for me. I was shocked, not only me. And because I used to be professional sportsman, at the same time, I did think, several hours a day. I became young scientist, etc. That's why I ruined my health, okay? Because I was trained, okay, 7 days a week with open mouth.
Right.
I think, it's not a good idea for health.
Yes.
But Stalmatsky all of a sudden developed blood cancer. First asthma, severe asthma, then TB, then blood cancer. It was a question of surviving. We attended lectures of Buteyko, right? But we didn't think, he could treat anyone, right? We didn't think. And Stalmatsky flew to Ukraine because it was some doctor, retired doctor, and she knew this method, Buteyko method. And it was last straw for Stalmatsky too. And she asked him to do non-stop maximum pulse, okay? Stalmatsky did about maybe 50, 60 maximum pulse a day. And Stalmatsky said, she helped me to survive. Without her, I should die. And then during conversation, he asked her, what sort of method you use, okay, for this treatment? She said, where you come from? He said, from Novosibirsk. Oh, bloody hell. The Buteyko, author this method lives. Why you should fly to me? Okay. Stalmatsky, all right. And flew back and knocked Buteyko's door. It was a bit funny for me situation. Buteyko went out, okay, open door with some papers, and he asked Stalmatsky, what sort of idiot bothers me, okay? I'm busy man. And Stalmatsky replied very calmly, why you call me idiot? Buteyko said, because you breathe through your mouth. Stalmatsky asked, how I should breathe? Come in. Come on. That's why you see, after Stalmatsky became his student, first to my knowledge. Because before, yes. And Stalmatsky, of course, okay. He told, you see, me, he told all his friends, his enemies everywhere, okay? Because he began to feel much better.
Yeah.
Much better. Imagine, blood was coming from his mouth non-stop.
Oh, wow.
After cough, okay, TB and asthma, okay, because people, you see, couldn't sleep nighttime. They complained because Stalmatsky coughed non-stop all night.
Yes.
And he did know he lie down position, provoke cough, okay, he did know.
So it seems for what you're saying that at the beginning they went really hard on the pulses. I mean, you're describing 60 pulses per day. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about those extremes, and we can get also into the Chernobyl story, which I'm very, very curious that you tell us about it.
No, first, okay, let's use some logic, right? Carbon dioxide is essential, significant, okay, part of any human body. Carbon dioxide can make any immune system stronger. Any immune system should heal, right? That's why immune system should be strong enough. Idea how to increase the level of CO2 in any body. Of course, two possibilities, two ways. First, boost carbon dioxide doing maximum pulse and do very, very shallow breathing. But if people have severe symptoms, like Stalmatsky had, he couldn't breathe shallow at all. He could breathe only through corner of his mouth because too much. His control pulse was so low, he could not breathe through his nose even. That's why what to do? One possibility, he couldn't use as if one possibility, okay, to make shallow breathing because it was not shallow breathing at all. That's why he should use only second possibility or second approach, doing maximum pulse. Cover all his day with maximum pulses. Okay, of course, imagine his breathing was so deep. That's why he should do many.
Yeah, I mean 60 pulses per day is
no divided by 20 hours, all right?
It's three maximum pulses every hour, including
it's not a big
time.
deal. Oh, no,
it's not a big deal. When I had that terrible cough back in 2020, I mean, I could only get to 30, and then I had to do another 30. Then I could get to 35 and maybe 40, and then I'd have to do a 40. So that, you know, there's 4, right? And then I get up to 45 and then 50 and then maybe another 50, get to 60. So, you know, we've got 8 there, and then I could get up to 80. And my aim was to get to 80 because then I could get decent amount of time without coughing. And then as soon as I start coughing again, I had to go again, because the problem was every time I held my nose, I was coughing. And I don't know if that's what happened to Stalmatsky, but I would imagine it might have, because TB it damages the lungs and it causes coughing. The TB cough, that's what. Yeah. And I mean, you know, my brother-in-law was saying to me when I was coughing, he says, you've got to go to the doctor because it might be TB.
Some holes in lungs, okay.
And
yes.
you were doing 60 pulses per day?
Oh, easily. While I had the cough, yes.
You should put in your mind, Marta, she had much better breath control, right?
Yeah.
Marta could do VSB, could do. Stalmatsky could not. And again, I think he should do even more. But what?
So he was extremely ill, and he managed to cure himself with
and
that.
He came back, to Buteyko, and he sometimes spent in Buteyko flat or house maybe 7 hours a day, because you see, of course, he would like to survive. Buteyko, okay, walking, okay, she passing by, okay, could she help him? Could make advice, and he began to sleep in vertical position. Buteyko first, what Buteyko told him, stop lying down.
Right, yeah.
And after I knew about this, right, and I knock Buteyko door next time. But for me it was easier because Stalmatsky introduced me, right, and it was interesting, of course. And of course, you see what I would like to say. because I was young scientist, okay, with some ambitious, okay, and that's why I didn't trust anyone. I should check, okay, I should find some scientific proof, and particularly it's like some develop some questions. I didn't believe what Buteyko said during his public lectures. I didn't believe. I just repeat questions. Buteyko answered the same. His answers were the same. And I went to library. I went to university, asked friends from biological faculty, okay, who were biologists, okay, physiologists, many friends, okay. I asked, answers were the same, and I couldn't find any contradiction in his words, all right, because I asked some scientists, sometimes, okay, distinguished scientists, okay, academicians, and they confirmed Buteyko right.
Yes. Give us an idea of the scientific and medical level of Buteyko, because I don't think people understand how important a figure he is. I mean, when Christopher talks about the relevance of Buteyko, he puts it in parallel as what Ignaz Semmelweis, for example, could have been. Yeah, in the history of medicine, his discovery is very important.
Buteyko made the same comparison back in old days. What again, please, okay, about history of Buteyko himself, right, biography. He was a brilliant engineer. He studied mechanics in a polytechnical institute. In future, he uses his knowledge about mechanics to create many physiological devices. And then, of course, he graduated first medical institute in Moscow with excellent marks, and he was already famous physiologist, and he had scientific degree, by the way, living in Moscow. Because he was famous, and at the same time, Siberian branch of Academy of Science of Soviet Union developed near Novosibirsk. They built lots of scientific institutes, including big medical center. Buteyko, because he was already famous physiologist, famous scientist, he was invited and he was offered to become a head of laboratory. Buteyko before that, Buteyko already made his discovery in 1952, but it should be proved. And of course, he was so glad because now he got some big laboratory, modern equipment back in those days. At the same time, he created with his colleagues new machines, physiological machines, okay? One machine could manage average level of CO2 within 10 minutes. So very nice, okay, significant result.
Yeah.
And he was invited, right? And he began to work in academic city, leading his laboratory. And after he proved, he made biological chemistry analysis. I don't know how
biochemical analysis.
Yes, to confirm his assumptions about the importance of carbon dioxide inside the body. Successfully had 2 approbations in Soviet Union time, 1968 and 1972. Doctors, chosen very bad patients, okay, for these trials. And trials finished successfully. 92, 95 and 98% of success, okay? And then Minister of Health promised Buteyko to allow using this method, okay, or spread this method over Soviet Union, but he cheated him.
Right.
Buteyko will get an order of Minister of Health only in 1985. There's some order of Minister of Health what said this method should be spread over Soviet Union, and doctors should use this method in any hospital, etc. Because they thought it was already proved. What Buteyko did in his laboratory.
So what happened later with that laboratory?
Can I just ask a question? Because I don't quite understand what you just said. He did some medical trials in the 60s.
Yes.
Yeah. And they had a high percentage of success.
95 and 98.
Yes. And the medical trials were for what?
Some people had severe asthma. Some people had diabetes. Many severe disorders. And they were under medical supervision, of course.
And so he did 2 medical trials.
Yes.
approbation or medical trial. So
Yes.
therefore, why was it not until 1985 that the health minister accepted the method?
No, because again, see, back in old days, that minister, when the trials took place, right,
Yeah.
he promised Buteyko about this permission, all right?
Mhm.
But bureaucratic games, all right?
Mhm.
Because Buteyko already was very famous, okay, over the Soviet Union, very famous. It was non-stop queue at his house, queue from people. People who came from any part of Soviet Union just to ask question and get some advice, all right?
Mhm.
Newspapers, okay, there was some articles, were some articles, like monthly in newspaper, in magazine, etc.
Yeah.
And maybe they didn't like Buteyko would be even more famous or whatever.
Sure.
I don't know.
Yeah. So that got delayed until 1985.
Yes.
And what was it recommended for?
For what Buteyko made researches, right? How he did with his colleagues, right? Took some people, group of people with the same disorder, say TB, right? And they were under his supervision, and they did this method.
Liquidation.
No.
Volitional liquidation of deep breathing.
Yeah. Like this. Yeah, this is precisely translation from Russian name of his method. Name of Buteyko method, okay, came from Christopher, I think.
Yeah.
In Australia. Christopher Sukhonosov, okay.
Stalmatsky had a very heated conversation with Buteyko, and Stalmatsky was adamant that it had to be called the Buteyko method. Yeah, imagine us these days saying people like, you have to make a course in the volitional liquidation of deep breathing. That would be quite something.
Well, so I thought that the method was actually recommended for certain things like asthma, or
no.
Or was it just recommended for all diseases?
No, for body disorders, okay.
All the chronic disorders.
It's like, you see, first attempt to spread this method in the West, okay, first attempt was connected with asthma.
Right.
Because people thought it easier to prove. You
could get results in 5 days.
Yeah.
And I think
particularly with children, okay, light asthma, no problem, okay.
Yeah, well, Christopher was worried about being locked up, I think.
So to clarify, actually, the Soviet Union government, the Ministry of Health of the Soviet Union, did recognize the Buteyko method as a cure for multiple chronic illnesses, not just asthma. But it was because the fame of the Buteyko method when it comes to curing illnesses comes from the particular asthma thing,
just
right?
In the West.
But that was just a strategy. Exactly, that was just a strategy to introduce the method, to make it known, so that people will easily recognize that it was valuable for something specific. Yeah, and because it's so effective for asthma, that was an easy thing to prove and introduce it in those terms. But actually, and this is something that many people might not know, the Buteyko method is extremely good for any kinds of chronic diseses.
Yes.
And this was recognized officially in the Soviet Union. I mean,
yes,
make of it what you will, but it's the truth. Yeah?
It's true. It's correct. And I just make clear, okay, how Buteyko worked, right? There was, for example, some medical institute. They tried to solve problem with diabetes, for example. Buteyko had connection, okay, or with a real hospital for diabetes, okay, people with diabetes. And he offered, okay, let's work together. They came, of course, they taught, they checked using his laboratory equipment, and they made advices, okay, on daily basis, etc. Our doctors, okay, they learned, they observed, okay, because if something wrong, doctors of hospital had responsibilities, right? If something wrong, doctor had right to stop any experiment, but nobody stopped. That's why Buteyko, one group of people with diabetes, another group of people with high blood pressure, for example, and he repeated, okay, many times. That's why after successful treatment, he wrote or he put this in list another disorder. No, of course, I'm not talking about blocked nose or whatever.
Oh, no.
Another like with allergies, the same.
Yeah.
That's why it was scientific. And he, of course, he made reports, attended many scientific conferences, non-stop, nearly monthly. Every month he flew to Moscow, to whatever another city, St. Petersburg, and made some report according about results. That's why nobody could argue with him.
Yeah.
So he would go presenting his papers around the the Soviet Union. Yeah.
Yes, of course it was like a bit secret for foreigners, right? To my knowledge, some soldiers were trained with this method. Some astronauts were trained with this method, because there were some implications.
KGB also, were you actually present?
Yeah, KGB, yes. Because I was told not by Buteyko, from another man, because I took some part in his birthday, right? General of KGB, that's why I know it's true. Buteyko was poisoned a few times, or he was trying to be poisoned, right?
Really?
Yes, because again, Buteyko was straightforward. He was not a politician at all. He could say any high rank, governor or academician, like, you're wrong. What you doing? I remember he told one academician, oh bloody hell, the academician was rewarded, what is called high medal of Soviet Union, very important person. Buteyko said, you are a killer. How you can dare to treat people like that? Imagine, during conference.
Yeah.
Publicly.
Well, he was so straight, wasn't he? I mean, he was
Absolutely.
so straight, no fear.
Fearless, yes. But he successfully helped, to get rid of some disorders, high rank KGB. After he taught KGB his method, some generals, right? And they recovered. After they said, stop attacking Buteyko, stop. If you would attack him, you should have deal with me. They surrendered.
Wow.
That's why you see, despite Soviet Union policy of Soviet Union was against private property, right? Private business. We could run private business, all right? I was arrested sometimes.
Wow.
But just I spent maybe 1 hour in police station because I asked, can I make a call, please? I did call to Buteyko, and that's it. So I don't know what Buteyko said. You see, and we earned lots of money. No, compared with other people.
Yeah.
Because it was private company. KGB, allowed him.
So when was he working with the KGB roughly?
Roughly about 1970s.
Before you knew him?
Before, yes. When I met him, he was so famous. He was untouchable. Untouchable. He could say, just maybe for fun. I don't know, maybe for me just. He flew to Krasnoyarsk region. It's a big territory, area of Krasnoyarsk region, maybe 4 times bigger than France, area of France. And governor met him at the airport. And there, of course, Buteyko was allowed to sit in his car, had conversation. The governor said, look, we are going to plant trees over there, pine trees. Buteyko said, straight away, better to cut them off. Why? You know why? Because trees absorb more carbon dioxide than they emit. Photosynthesis.
Photosynthesis, but they fix carbon.
Yes. At the same time, pine tree exude some resin, what makes breathing deeper.
Sure.
And some people feel dizzy in pine trees forest.
Areas, in pine forests, yes. In fact, we've had quite a few students that have moved to a mountain area where there's lots of pine trees and their breathing deteriorates.
Yeah, Buteyko knew, of course, it, That's why he said, better to cut them off.
Cut them down.
Cut them down. What?
Yeah.
The governor tried to boast, right? How he good, man. Buteyko said, cut them off.
What do you think? What do you think his views will be on the whole climate change thing? That everything is based on carbon dioxide. I mean, what do you think what his views would be? We're not saying, we're not judging the whole thing, we're just speculating
Sorry,
here.
I don't have right.
Right. Okay.
What
Okay,
he
that's-
predicted, we know, okay? He predicted what? 80, okay? Well, now 40 years ago, 45 years ago, he said, you see, level of CO2 in human body will be declined. And disorders, people will develop disorders in early stages. What we can see, because back in my days, when I was a teenager, for example, teenager had to see asthma. Oh, you kidding, okay? Or diabetes. Are you kidding? Okay, just maybe one fat pupil was in my school. We had maybe 500 pupils, and only one was fat. Only one could not run mile. Okay.
Well,
Same as fat.
we're a similar age, and we had one fat boy in our class too. I remember his name. You know,
And
it
now
was
look
that
now.
remarkable that I remember his name. I don't remember anybody else's name.
Because you did bully him, right?
Well, he was just huge compared to everybody else. We were all skinny,
Yes,
and he wasn't that huge, actually.
of course. Compared with now.
Well, you
Yes.
still play you still play tennis every day. How much do you play?
No, now I play a little bit less, like 3 hours.
3 hours per day.
No, I play single 1 hour roughly, okay? One and a
Right.
half. Then I play double. Double
Yeah.
easy, okay?
Okay, okay.
But it's okay for enjoyment, okay? Why not?
Let's go back to, I am really curious about this one. I heard this story, so you tell me, I think you confirmed to me that this is true, that when in April of 1886, the Chernobyl accident happened, and so there was radiation all over the place in the Ukraine, and you actually went there to
Yeah.
heal people, to treat people. You exposed yourself to the radiation in order to help. So how did you manage that? What were the conditions there? What did you do there?
No, Buteyko said us, okay? Oh, please, I should mention, when Buteyko became so popular, and he had maybe 5 or 6 sacks of envelopes from any corner of Soviet Union, he decided, oh, guys,
I mean, envelopes of people asking him to go there to teach them.
no, they raise questions or ask him to go and teach them, what many.
Yeah. So he had lots of letters.
And he said, okay, guys, you're young. Let's start traveling, all right? Let's begin traveling. We said, yes, sir. Mobile team for members.
So it was you, Stalmatsky, Sergei.
Sergei Luzgin, and Dr. Shevelov, Alexander Shevelov.
Medical doctor.
Medical doctor. Why we were not doctors and why Buteyko invited us to be Buteyko practitioner? One reason, because he trained more than 200 doctors, because he expected permission from Minister of Health. He trained himself, free of charge, of course, more than 200 doctors, young, but permission didn't come, and they were under the restriction of any hospital. They could not use Buteyko method. That's why Buteyko, that's why I should invite, no doctor, because no restriction, no obligation.
But the doctor you had, was he a medical doctor?
Yes, but he fired himself.
He fired himself. Okay.
Yes, from hospital. Yes, he stopped working at hospital because he had a big problem with his lungs. Even
Right.
he had operations,
Mm-hmm.
and not big improvement. And when he learned Buteyko method, right, he began again strong man, and more important, because he would like to have deal with girls, and he could, he came back to his life. Yes,
Yeah.
that's
He'd
why-
like, what you mean is he'd like a girlfriend, which he couldn't have before when he had
No.
bad lungs. Yeah.
Yes, and that's why he stopped to work in such a doctor at hospital. But he was a doctor. He had diploma, everything correct, qualification. It's like maybe gap, maybe like a few months. After he learned Buteyko method, right, he began Buteyko practitioner, and this is the offer of Buteyko, right? Please, you can go, and we didn't ask money. We just make some treatment, and people gave money what they would like to.
It was a
There was-
donation. It was on a donation basis.
Donation, yes, on donation basis.
And I remember you saying you used to hang an overcoat over the door and people would put the money in the pocket of the coat.
Yes. After we left, whatever, when we had break or when we finish, okay, workshop, right?
In your coat pocket.
Yes. That's why you see after, oh, goodbye everyone, then you see, I got rest, okay, hop, somebody, okay.
That's the Soviet version of PayPal donations, yeah?
Yeah. Because they maybe expect we could refuse, right?
Yeah.
Because we claim straight away. Please, people, take easy, don't worry. Our idea to spread this method over the Soviet Union. And we used to work non-stop, I'm sorry. We flew like from Vladivostok, maybe 8 hours of flight, to Moscow or to Vilnius or Tallinn, non-stop, okay?
You went to Uzbekistan?
Yes. We were,
How did people comply to the method? What was their reaction to the results of the method? How was their level of compliance with the practice? Because you went there, give the course, and then you left. How did you keep in touch on how they were doing?
After 1 month or 2 months, we came back. And we didn't fly together, okay? We divided Russia, okay? No, sometimes, okay, we spend some days, okay, together, but such a holiday. We consider such a holiday. But, for example, I ran workshop in, okay, Kaliningrad, right? Then Stalmatsky, okay, ran workshop in St. Petersburg. It's close, maybe 40 minutes of flight. Stalmatsky went to Kaliningrad, okay, another workshop, and he invited previous students and discussed like this, okay, because it was face to face.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And anytime we invited, please, if you attended previous workshops, you can come, ask or sit, whatever you like, okay? Because we usually have big venue, big, like cinema, etc. Theater, big venue, like many people could come.
So how many people were there?
Sometimes about 200, all right?
So you gave a Buteyko workshop to 200 people at the same time?
No, I mean, including previous students, yes.
Right.
But usually, it was, Buteyko, of course, he implemented some rules, okay? Not more than 20 people. But these rules were implemented not for us. Because look, sometimes we have new students, about 50 or 60 new students.
And how was that in terms of the compliance of the student and treating their symptoms and getting them to heal their illnesses? Did you keep a track of the results?
No, what I now I just recall, okay, came to my mind. After 2 days of workshop, or 3 days maybe of workshop, right? In Tiflis, I remember. And mother, she knocked my door. She opened. She said, "What is going on? My child now, she has green color face. Imagine." I said, "Oh, I can go. I would like to see." And yes, it is, okay. Yellow eyes and green color, okay, face. No, I knew already because I communicated with Buteyko every day. And Buteyko said, "Don't worry, there's cleansing correction." And next day, it was gone. Look, there's some difference between drug companies.
So people were not on medication at all?
No.
So it was easier to heal them because of that?
Yes. It's like a typical conversation between doctor and some patient. Okay, the patient, for example, visit doctor second time, and patient says, "Doctor, this medication doesn't help me." Doctor, okay, stop it, take it. Go for a walk, fresh air, good food, physical exercises. Okay, let's go. Okay, that's it, simple. People took maybe aspirin, okay, or painkiller. That's it. Any doctor didn't have any benefit from selling drugs. Okay, no.
So how long were the workshops?
10 days, like 5 days break on weekend and another 5 days.
Okay.
And then would you say that by the end of the 10 days, the maximum pauses were way up and people were kind of on...
Yes. They usually feel better on second day, but a bit. But most of the people felt much better after 5 days.
Mm-hmm.
And through this workshop, most of cleansing, 90% gone.
So by the end of the 10 days, the majority of people had got through 90% of the cleansing reactions.
Absolutely, yes.
And what do you think their control pause was after 10 days?
About 30 seconds.
No
From
problem.
20 seconds, all right? Average control pause. I remember presentation, okay, what? Presentation, sometimes there were 500 people, okay, during presentation. And I remember, because what I did, according to Buteyko advice, I did print test and I checked control pause. Of course, maybe they overdid a little bit, right? But to my recollection, average control pause was about 20 plus seconds.
Yeah, so it wasn't
No.
not difficult to get to 30.
No, and not as much medication. I remember many elderly people came, one with beard, right? One very nice looking man. He said, "What, son? Tell me, okay, what should I do?" I checked his control pause. It was 35 seconds. I said, "Nothing, okay. Do whatever you do." Forget about Buteyko, forget about, do you take medicine? No. Sometimes I catch cold, I take a little bit, okay, vodka, sauna, that's it, okay, nice. And he had some film, right? He worked physically every day. Yeah.
So what is the difference between those students back in the Soviet era and now? What is the main differences that you see in people's health?
First, no, of course, the preservation of health, right? And people have more severe disorders, more chronic disorders, and their control pause on average much lower. Of course, and cleansing creation might go on for ages.
Yeah, so it's more difficult to treat people today than it was back then.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Very difficult.
it's a grueling process. It can be a grueling. Some people just do very well very quickly.
I remember even when I used to work in UK, right? Again, workshop was face to face. Some people, okay, because I had a pager, and they send some message, I called back, because again, we didn't have any computer, no internet at all.
Yeah, so you carried a pager with you, yeah?
Yes, all the time. And some people ask for help after 2-3 months even of workshop, okay, difference already from Soviet Union, okay.
Right.
Interesting. So yeah,
and sometimes of course we had meeting, okay, I had meeting with them, because what if they live in London, for example, or in some Edinburgh, I was there, okay, why not? Come to workshop. But sometimes people came or asked for help several months after they attended workshop, okay. That's why cleansing creation was going on and on.
Right. So the difference that you saw already when you came to London, to the Western world, is that it took longer for them to heal a bit more, and now it's even longer. Yeah,
even longer now.
It can take months.
Yes, much longer. What I remember, because what sort of cleansing people had in I left UK also.
Yeah, 2003 wasn't it, or 2?
Or
yeah,
maybe 3.
yeah, yeah.
And look now, 20 years after, gone, back 20 years ago, right? But now situation even worse.
Yeah. So let's go back to Chernobyl. So
Chernobyl
happened, and then.
So do you mind if I just go through chronologically what he, when he started being a practitioner?
Sure.
And then when he went to Chernobyl.
Sure.
When did you actually start working with Buteyko?
First, I became his student, right? In 1978, I think. 79.
And how long did it take for you to get the results?
Oh, significant results I get after 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
And after 5 years, because I visited Buteyko at home many times, I began to assist him and Stalmatsky, okay, like this. I learned from his conversation, because he lived alone, and I spent many hours in his kitchen, okay, taking a cup of tea and listening to everything. That's why I met Frolov, author of Device, okay. I met many other people what I mentioned. They came for advice, to Buteyko for advice. And after 5 years, bit by bit, I was involved, okay, in his treatment, okay, bit by bit. Then after 5 years, he signed first red diploma to me.
So how did you work with the students that came to his house and helped Buteyko train students? Yeah.
And of course, I passed some exam. Of course, he demanded I should study Henderson article and other articles, all right? I should understand base of physiology, right?
Yeah, so you had a diploma, you had two diplomas actually, the actual diploma for, for practicing, for healing people basically, and the actual diploma also for training other practitioners, didn't you?
Yes, I could go. I could check every practitioner. I could come, I had right to come and check how practitioners run workshop, etc. and could make some comments.
Like a supervisor, yeah?
You could audit people's...
audit, yes. Audit.
Yes. Okay, so you started traveling around Soviet Union in 1983, and then when did you go to Chernobyl?
1986.
Do you remember the month?
Yes, April.
April, okay. And so did you go straight away, or did you have to prepare yourself to go in any way?
No, I wasn't. We were not in center of nuclear disaster, right? We were beside, maybe 100 kilometers, all right? Severe people with severe damages, okay, they were sent in hospital. No, most for dying, all right? Of course. We had deal with, okay, please, look, some people should be evacuated from that place, right? It was closed, okay? This zone was sieged.
Yeah.
And people should leave, should be evacuated. And they left their stuff, they didn't take anything. And because I'm going to talk about spirit, right? I mean alcohol.
Alcohol,
Yes, what I remember, because I saw people should go through some checkpoint and they should check level of radiation. After shower, many of them still had high radiation. But after spirit shower, level of radiation went down.
So they showered themselves with water, and then they showered themselves with white spirit or some sort of alcohol, white alcohol.
No, the authorities did.
The authorities did.
There were many checkpoints, all right? Maybe two. People should go through checkpoints. And only when they have low level of radiation, they can go out. Not a big amount. If big amount, they should go to hospital. And we had deal with people who had not so big level of radiation because we were not allowed to go inside. Buteyko said us, Buteyko talked on the phone, okay, with somebody. People were organized, all right? And Buteyko demanded everyone from us should have control pause above 60 seconds. We trained ourselves very hard because my control pause was about 55. Buteyko, no, 60 plus.
Wow.
No, it didn't take a long time, maybe 1 week, just to practice more often, all right? And we had deal with people who had radiations, who got radiation, but not much. Usually symptoms, they were sleepy. They slept maybe 18 hours a day, imagine.
Oh, wow.
They were so weak, no appetite. They every step was so difficult for them. My even sleep, was increased to 7 hours, okay, to 8 hours, to my recollection. It's a bit okay, like buffer zone, like maybe.
Buffer zone, yeah.
And we had deal with these people.
Right, so you were treating people who didn't need to go to hospital, but had clear,
hospital was already full, but they didn't have big dosage of radiation.
So what sort of building did you collect them in? They came to...
Yeah, special venue, like government, okay, rent some cinemas or theaters, right? Some buildings, some military buildings, etc.
Yeah, because they had to leave their homes, and where were they living? Where did they go when they left their homes?
In some places, government organized some places because they lost everything. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So those
they
people...
left, okay, their cars, okay, jewelry, everything, clothes, everything, okay. They went out to see naked.
Incredible.
Because to my recollection, I saw picture. I wasn't there because it was center, all right. But I saw picture or close to center. Okay, big hole. People see my big hole, and they put cars, okay, wardrobes, okay, beds, okay, everything, okay, clothes, everything, big pile, and they put on the ground, okay.
Wow.
So everything that was likely to be radioactive was taken off
Everything was, you see, yes.
and buried, and then they
Buried.
were allowed in without anything, and then they had to
Even money, no money. I'm sorry.
no money.
That's why government took care of them, took responsibility. Because it is a big mistake of government, right? Or authorities in this nuclear station.
And those people who had those symptoms of fatigue, like sleeping for 18 hours a day, so what were the results when they started to do the method?
They came back to normal life, you see. They reduced, you see, reduce hours of sleep, okay. They developed appetite again. They became stronger, etc. We had deal with symptoms like that. Headaches, okay, dizziness, chronic fatigue, right? Extreme fatigue, okay, no appetite, sometimes vomiting, okay.
And did you find that, did you work with all age groups?
Yes. No, we separated all the children because it's easier. For children it's more dangerous, but easy to treat.
Interesting.
Some people funny, okay. Some people I met, elderly men and women, okay. They refused to go out. They lived for another 2-3 months. Then I met them. They were pushed to leave this radiation zone, right? They felt all right. Control pause above 30 seconds, no problem. I asked what? Because you took water from well, right? From your well. Yes. Because they were peasants, okay? They ate, okay, chickens, etc. What? And radiation didn't affect you. He said no. She said no. Strange. Radiation, very peculiar subject, okay?
So you told me that there seemed to be, what you observed, that elderly people, because their metabolism has slowed down, are not affected by radiation if the control pause is high enough.
Yes, what I saw. I don't know explanation, I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying that's what you saw, yes. And then...
And Buteyko demanded, we should have high control pause, right? Buteyko believed high level of CO2 can protect from radiation.
Very interesting.
Simple, okay, vomiting, okay, symptoms like that. Fatigue, the people slept, okay, for many hours. No appetite. Sometimes they they should vomit, all right?
Yeah.
They look like they were poisoned so much.
How long did it take to get their control pause up, roughly?
Or maybe 1 month. We spent 2 months, by the way. And on average, 1 month was enough. But not for everyone. Some people, okay, they had maybe bigger dosage, okay, so little improvement. Second month, yes. During first month, no big improvement. We spent 2 months. Yes.
So how many workshops would you do in a day?
Maybe 3 everyone.
So you go traveling around?
At least 2. At least 2. No, it's not a big deal. Because people were put in the same area.
It's very interesting. I just thought that the conditions that you're describing for, an area that was affected for Chernobyl, they're actually kind of similar to what we're living today without the radiation, at least that kind of radiation, yeah? Because people with, dizziness, and they had fatigue, and this is what we get all the time nowadays. And it takes more than a month to actually, make them feel well.
Again, radiation is very unknown subject. Because to my knowledge, okay, even mountains can produce some radiation, right? Particularly what it's called, granite, maybe I'm right.
Yeah, granite can produce radon gas.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it's like a normal, natural, level of radiation somewhere.
Yeah, but radon is just, it's a particle. It's an alpha particle. It's not very strong, but the stuff that would have come out of Chernobyl would have been gamma rays.
Yeah, of course, gamma, yes. People, firemen, okay, they didn't know. What again? I just recall, I'm so sorry for them. Tried to put fire down, okay?
Sure.
And they died. Could send them
well,
to die like this.
I know, but they didn't know what else to do. They were just sent in, and they had to put water on the fire. It was all documented in a documentary. I watched it, and these people were walking into their death.
Yes, sure.
They were just sacrificed.
For what? In vain. They just follow order, stupid order. Yes, many stupid things happened back in old days. I heard many stories, stupid.
Not only back in old days. Look at what we're going on today, you know.
But
Yes, that's why we recommended, okay, I'm sorry, Buteyko Method, of course, and drink a bit vodka.
Interesting. Okay.
I don't know, Buteyko said, and I saw strange, like somebody, okay, oh, I vomit to see a few times a day, okay, fatigue, okay, I can't move, okay, I would like to lie down all the time. It's difficult for me to put my arm up, to lift my arm even, okay, imagine. Okay, practice in lie down position. After a little bit vodka, do again. Because vodka or any white spirit, such a dilator, it increases level of CO2 temporarily. Okay, that's why, according to physiology, what Buteyko said, I remember, he said, yes, you can drink some alcohol to make your maximum pause longer, yes, but because it will be rebound, your breath will be deeper, but you should try to collect more carbon dioxide.
Yes.
Then you will exhale later. Of course, you shouldn't eat. You just drink alcohol, do maximum pause, drink again. Oh, bloody hell.
Wow.
I tried. I made my experiment myself. I took sauna, hot bath. And I did what Buteyko said. A little bit vodka, hot bath, 3-4 maximum pause, a bit vodka, make water hotter, again hot bath. It's bloody difficult. It's very difficult, right? But after I felt, I could fly.
Really? So how many times you do that in a row? Like you do one session of that and then one after the other, or?
I did 2 sessions, okay?
Yeah.
But every session I did 5 maximum pause. And maybe 3 shots of vodka. No, like maybe altogether, maybe 50 milliliters of vodka, one session.
Wow.
Not a big amount. Okay, you shouldn't drink glass of vodka.
Of course, yeah.
But it's very difficult to do. Very difficult.
it's difficult to get your pauses up.
No, in the beginning, okay, but when I began drunk, because hot water from outside, right, and vodka inside, I became drunk. But it was easy to do maximum pause.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
And how did you deal with the rebound?
Because I did to see VSB, I did maximum pause. During rebound, my maximum pause dropped. Yes.
Right. So it was like getting into a high, yeah.
Yeah.
And then.
See what Buteyko said. No, I believe because I made an experiment myself. Alcohol suppressed a respiratory center. That's why if you've got flexible respiratory center, you don't need this stuff, don't need this procedure. But I made this experiment when my respiratory center was so rigid, so resistant, right? To get breakthrough, this idea to get breakthrough, I fed up, I remember. My control pulse was 18, 17, 18, whatever I did, didn't grow up.
Right.
But they said, no, try this.
So that's what you recommended actually to some of the radiation patients.
Yes.
Wow.
No, it's without bath, because with hot bath it's much more difficult. No, a little bit vodka, but we recommended only 1 shot, like maybe 15 milligrams of vodka, all right? And practice, hard practice. 1 shot a day.
Oh yeah, so you do a shot a day and then lots of practice through the day. Yeah.
Yes, and shot should be in the morning, because not before night. Okay, rebound. They should catch rebound.
You've got to catch the rebound in the day before they go to sleep.
That makes sense. Yeah.
I also, there's one more thing I want to ask you about, is that you said that the mushrooms grew There were no birds singing in the area around Chernobyl that you visited, and that
No animals, no.
no animals, no birds, and
No
that the
birds,
mushrooms grew.
Yes, about 1 meter.
Wow.
Yes, mushrooms and some another stuff. I don't know, maybe carrot. No, mushroom for sure. I saw myself pictures, right? Like, imagine the smallest mushroom like this, okay? Half a meter, yes.
So from a small mushroom, they turn into 1 meter mushrooms?
Yes.
And that's because they...
Say, okay, half meter. For
right,
sure.
and yeah, but you could see like a huge difference in the size.
Yes, and now animals came back, to my knowledge, maybe even 10 years ago they came back, but have some genetic modified, features.
They're tolerant of the radiation.
Yes, different. They look different. Okay.
I mean, there are stories about an area of Ireland that I visited that was supposed to have quite a lot of radioactivity flowing into it from waste dropped into the ocean off the coast from Sellafield, or the nuclear power station in Cumbria. And the women in that area, when they're pregnant, they will not talk about their pregnancy at all. They'll hide it. They'll wear clothes to hide the pregnancy because they're not sure what they're going to produce, because there's some real very severe abnormalities in that area.
Yes.
So the other thing is, when you were working with people, did you meet pregnant women who escaped? Did you make any observations?
Pregnant women were under special treatment straight away.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
They were taken in some hospitals because already, and to my recollection, doctors even advised to get rid of child, to do
Really?
abortion. Yes.
Yeah.
Because got to face what might happen with child. Before 3 months of pregnancy in Russia, law like this. 3 months, yes, any woman is allowed to do abortion. But back in old days in Chernobyl, they did even, despite it was above 3 months, it was longer. Yes, Marta, you're right. Yes, and we didn't have any patient, pregnant woman. Small children and pregnant women were attacked the most.
Yeah.
What a crazy story. The whole Chernobyl thing is incredible.
And what's crazy, yes, and again, is this. Many mistakes. Oh, by the way, you know reason. Because it was bad concrete. What? Somebody stole, made some money, right? Some people, committed suicide. Who was responsible? Safety mechanism should work. But it didn't, because one leg was broken due to bad concrete. Otherwise, everything will be fine. 200 meters deep, that's it, and some sort of lead on top of that, and special this special hole with lead.
It's thick enough.
Thick enough, yes.
Yeah. So the reactor is put inside, a huge concrete box, and
concrete box should be dropped.
Should drop right down into the ground, yes, and get covered up very quickly if something goes wrong. And I think it was cooled by water. It was a water-cooled reactor, and that meant that the carbon rods, which are the modifiers that actually control how fast the reaction goes, they came in contact with water because it leaked. And according to the reactivity series, the oxygen from the water goes onto the carbon and produces hydrogen.
Yeah.
And it causes an explosion.
Yeah. Absolutely, you're right. Yes, it happened.
That was great. I mean, that's... Thank you so much, Vladimir. This was really, really interesting conversation. Very important to make students and people who are interested in the method understand that the method is good from the inception. It doesn't need anything to be added up. In fact, what the virtue of what we do is to always go to the source, always go to what Buteyko would have done and said in any given situation, because the depth of knowledge and the power of his research that he was capable of doing in the Soviet era, it really it was a whole thing in and of itself, and nothing needs to be changed around that. And you have given us a real good insight into what it was. And I think it's a very good conversation to archive, as to give testimony of the history of this incredibly important method to know. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Martha, as well. And we hope to have you in the podcast regularly again for next time. Thank you so much. Well, that was Vladimir Sukhonosov, who is a very important part of the inception and application of the Buteyko method. If you found the conversation as interesting as I did, I am sure you will be interested in finding out more about the method. You can do that in the website www.learnbuteykoonline.net, where you can find out more about the method. You can sign up for free webinars where you can ask your questions about your conditions, or perhaps you have a family member who would benefit from the method and you want to find out more. The method is also taught in other languages like Greek, Spanish, Hebrew, and more. And I will see you in the next podcast. I hope this was of great interest to you. Thank you very much for listening.